welcome to show number 13. I am your host, Fernando Leon, and today we are joined by my co-host, Gregory Morowitz. Today's webinar is part 2 on what the tech stack our team implements to build a low maintenance environment, because that's the entire goal, is to build a low maintenance environment so you have happy clients. If your clients don't have problems, who is going to be complaining? Because we are in the complaining business. Clients call us for support because something is broke, something's not working. So we want to help you guys, educate you on how to build these low maintenance environments. And we'll have future shows on a more deeper dive on what products, right? The products, we'll talk about products today, but we'll have vendors that will put their products on display for you guys. So, but let me just give you just a quick overview on our main objective at the MSP Corner. And it's to help CEOs build profitable and sustainable IT service firms. We're not just providing tools for IT firms. We're going to be sitting in meetings with you to ensure your IT firm is on track with selling value and implementing marketing strategies that will drive traffic to your site. We will have information on how to sell value, right? You guys don't want to sell technology or IT services. We're going to provide you with frameworks so you position your firm as an add value to your prospects. We're going to have information on how to, as for marketing, I know that 90+% of you rely on antiquated marketing methods. The most popular choice, you guys rely on word of mouth. We have proven methods on how to attract the ideal prospect. Our framework will include how to become the online authority and to be that business influencer for a specific industry. IT firms walk away from opportunities because they lack the bandwidth or skill set to scale. And we've lined up resources so our members can hire on-demand resources so they can scale their business. And in order to deliver value, you need the right resources in place. And one of those would be the right tech stack. Our platform will offer information on products that are the ideal choice for MSPs. And templates. Templates are a critical component when building an MSP. We will have contracts, proposals, SOWs, collateral, and much more in the template section. You will have every document you need to start up your managed IT service business. And Gregory, let's kick this show off. So I'm gonna hand these control over to you.
Great, thanks. All right, let's get to the first item in our tech stack. What we need. We're going to talk about each of these different tech stack items. The first item is the RMM tool, remote monitoring and management, or remote management and monitoring. So this is really a really good tool to have because it allows you to monitor your customers' infrastructure and perform preventative maintenance. Usually these tools include the ability to run automated scripts. They also have patch managers, and most of them have remote control clients. And with the three of those tools, you can really be preventive, have preventive maintenance, and control your customer's environment, and then even run remote scripts that may fix problems ahead of time or automatically. But your RMM tool is your basic foundation of your MSP. You really are running your MSP from your RMM tool. Without it, you can't really do a lot of things that you need to do, like remote control, automatically see what your customer has in the way of an environment. And there's a hidden feature within the RMM tool, and that's inventory. If you've absorbed all these devices, you can then kind of run reports against them to show that you have inventory, what kind of software they possibly are running, what kind of operating systems are running, what kind of machines that they have. and you're going to be able to see all that through your dashboard. So it really is an awesome tool because it has all of the fundamentals that you need to start your MSP. So that's why we're starting out with the RMM tool. Without it, you really can't move forward unless you just kind of piece out all those different tools into one individual pieces of software. And the 4 or 5 the abilities I just mentioned, having 4 or 5 different pieces of software is going to be hard to manage. These, with an RMM tool, they put it all under one pane of glass. There are companies that combine their RMM tools with other like network analyzers, traffic analyzers, and all that other stuff. There's just more, and backup and stuff like that. That's just more abilities that the RMM tool is offering you that you can look at under one single pane of glass.
So before anyone chooses an RMM tool, could you give like a brief overview of like what you look for? Because we're obviously it has to be multi-tenant, right? MSPs want to be able to view multiple clients' infrastructures and a comprehensive overview of what they have in place and alerts and all that. What do you look for in an RMM tool? And do you have like the top 3 out in the market today that you can say, these, they're not all perfect. These guys expect perfection. And I read on the Reddit boards, they're like, oh, this tool is just not meeting all their requirements, and they can get annoyed, but not every tool is perfect. So what would you say are the top 3 tools out there, and what do you look for before you decide, hey, this is the ideal fit for our organization?
Well, you're right. Multi-tenant is a key one. Compatibility with other products is key. So you want to have something that has APIs and calls that can be placed on other devices, other tools that you can have in your tool set, like CRM tools and so on and so forth. So that's what I would really be looking for: multi-tenancies and compatibility. What are the top 3? I would say SolarWinds, N-Central, Ninja RMM, those kinds of things. They're pretty good. They're all coming up. There's other ones that are coming up in the market, but again, if they don't have they lack a lot of functionality. But for the most part, I would stick with the industry standards, the Gartner Group or the Magic Quadrant ones. But and those are going to be SolarWinds, and Ninjas, etc.
Now, I don't know if this is even relevant, but because we deal with so many industries, you and I, we're working with dozens of industries. Would you say an RMM works, a specific RMM works much better, like let's say in manufacturing? Would you pick a?
Oh, no, they're industry agnostic because we're just talking
Okay,
about the computers and the
gotcha.
infrastructure. It's if it were something that was dealing with applications and how applications worked and how applications were running, then there might be a cause for using a specific type of RMM. But no, for the most part, no industry is really needed for your RMM tool.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
All right, the next thing on your list is going to be getting a PSA tool, and your PSA tool is going to be your ticketing system, your CRM, where all your data is stored. A lot of CRM systems are inclusive of billing, tracking orders, and you want to, of course, make sure that it's compatible with your RMM tool. So your RMM tool and your PSA tool are going to be married together. I think there's 1 or 2 products out there that are all PSA and RMM combined. So you might want to, those might be interesting to look at. But for the most part, your PSA tool is going to hold all of your customer information, your billing information, possibly, and your CRM and your tickets. So all your tickets and stuff are going to come from that particular source. And that's, again, another thing that you're going to need to get right away alongside of your RMM tool is your PSA tool. So without those 2 things, you're really not going to be an MSP. You need to get both of those. You can't really run your organization without those two basic tools, which is the PSA and the RMM. And again, the PSA really keeps all of your customer information, ticketing, etc.
That's good to know. And but again, I'm going to stick with what are the top 3 tools out there? What would you recommend to these guys that are listening or considering moving from a break fix to the MSP model? What PSA tool is out there that you're just like, wow, this is the ideal? These are the top 3 ideal tools. Don't skimp, because these guys are always trying to save a buck. Do you recommend something that is not only cost friendly, but it's the top 3 ideal tools for these guys?
Yeah, there's not really 3 I would recommend. There's only 2, ConnectWise or Datto, and
Wow.
really those are the 2 dominant members of the marketplace. Everything else is kind of substandard, but Datto and which has Autotask and ConnectWise. Everything else again is there are up and comers, but they're all maybe tied for third, maybe 10 or 15 of them tied for third. But there's no question that ConnectWise and Datto or Autotask are the leaders of the pack. And Datto, Kaseya bought Datto and all that stuff. So yeah, if you use either of those products, you're going to be, price isn't really going to be a factor for you because you have to have something. If you're not going to go with Datto or ConnectWise, you're going to be going with one of those other third place finishers. Maybe you want to do it for price, but you just have to make sure that it's going to be compatible with your RMM tool. If it's not, I wouldn't even go there. ConnectWise and Autotask are compatible with almost every PSA tool. RMM tool. And so that's what I would do. I wouldn't even consider using any of the other 3, the third place finishers, unless there's really a preference within your organization. Somebody's used something before that they loved, and they love it. But I wouldn't go down that road unless you're completely experienced with dealing with a different PSA tool. ConnectWise and Autotask are going to get you where you need to go. And
Awesome.
and the price is the price. I wouldn't flinch about it.
Gotcha. All right.
All right. Then once you have your PSA, your customer information, and you're monitoring all your customers and infrastructures, you're going to need to have your techs be able to look at a repository of data in order to service these customers. A lot of these customers have unique things like passwords, how to start up servers, how to support customers, how to log into virtual private networks, what are IP addresses, what are network maps. You're going to need to have some place where you store all that data in a repository. And if you don't have that, you're gonna be taking twice, 3x, 5x more time supporting your customers than if you didn't have a documentation tool. What are some documentation tools you're going to ask? SharePoint, IT Glue, Jira. Those 3 are going to be your go-to items for your tools. But if you don't have this tool set, you're really going to be lost. So it's great that you can service customers and take tickets, but if you don't know their passwords, if you don't know their IP addresses for their network, if you don't know where their server, their DC is, or what its name is, you're really going to be you're really going to be hobbling yourself. You're going to put yourself at a disadvantage. So I would definitely invest in a documentation tool. Without it, again, you're going to just be lost. You're going to be slower, inefficient, and not working optimally and making money.
Yeah, I agree. It's documentation is the backbone to success, I feel, because you got to be able to not only it helps you see a history of what's happened in the past, it'll help you solve problems quickly, I'm sure. So
Oh, absolutely.
awesome.
All right, ticketing. Now you can break out your ticketing from your PSA tool if it doesn't have it. You can break it out in another system. Some people hate the PSA ticketing system and they want a more customizable ticketing system. And some of the PSA tools, will hook up with ticketing systems, Zendesk or or even Jira or something similar to that, you can get a ticketing system that you will like. But without ticketing, you can't intake work. So you need to either use the ticketing system that comes with your PSA tool, or decide on using a more customizable, more different ticketing system. A lot of these companies that work on ticketing only are doing innovating ticketing. A lot of the PSA companies are trying to innovate all the different layers of their PSA tool, so they don't pay so much attention to ticketing. So the requests for changes or requests for improvements are somewhat ignored in the PSA world over the ticketing area. They want to just keep it simple. But these companies like Jira and Zendesk and all these other places that have that they concentrate on ticketing, they have a lot more features, a lot more capabilities, a lot more customizability, which you may need. What does customizability do for you? It reduces the amount of support time you need to invest in a problem. If you ask a person in the ticket if they've rebooted their computer, if they've if they're at the latest patch version, if they've tried X, Y, or Z, and they answer yes to all those things, then you can skip doing them. You don't have to do those things when you call them to do support. You can see that they've already maybe run a scriptlet you sent them or something, or something that was available, and then you have the ability to really cut down on supportability based on asking qualifying questions.
All right.
Okay, now something that's going to produce problems for you. You need to get things. Now the RMM tool is going to produce problems for you on a regular basis. This is how this is how you do preventative maintenance. This is how you do project-based work. This is how you get paid. You need problems to pop up. And one of the main creators of problems is antivirus, EDR, endpoint detection, malware protection, ransomware protection. When something like that pops up, it gives you the opportunity to go to work. Now, what does going to work look like? Solving problems, giving people training, having people, working through problems, telling people not, go to phishing school. All these different things you can do are based on the fact that you need to get a source of problems to be coming in, more so than just a user having a problem once in a while. When you have EDR and you do solve problems and you're showing the customer, here's me solving problems, they see value in that. At the end of the month, they can see a report. Oh, we had 25 viruses, but we prevented all of them from happening. It makes people feel good. It makes people feel like, oh, I'm getting value out of this, other versus just saying, okay, 3 people opened tickets this month. You don't get much value. They're like, well, 3 people, I don't need this service. But if you go 3 people, open tickets, we solved them, then we stopped 27 viruses from harming your infrastructure. They're going to be, oh wow, we need this. We can't get rid of this now. So yeah, EDR is a problem creator, which is great. You want to do that.
And EDR has a lot of automation and AI built in. Is that right?
Absolutely. EDR has AI, especially more modern EDR. Dumb antivirus doesn't, like Panda or Avast or a free AVG or something like that. Those aren't the ones you want to get. You want to get EDR like CrowdStrike or SentinelOne, that has the ability to use the AI modules to detect patterns, to do deep scans, to stop 0-day type attacks. When you get like Norton, it probably doesn't have that ability, or you'd have to get something like like a more enterprise version of Norton, in order to stop it.
So I was going to ask about the top 3 products, but you did mention SentinelOne, CrowdStrike, and what would you say is the third? What would be your
maybe Trend Micro, or
yeah, that's a good one.
Symantec or Sophos. Those are all great. There's so many antivirus providers. WebRoot. There's so many out there that are so good. All right, now we move on to like the most important creator of security and safety for the companies. Without this next item, you really are going to be lost. If you fail at this item, you could possibly just lose a customer straight out, and that's backup. If you're not performing regular backups of data, because data is what the customer needs to do their business, Sometimes data is all they have in order to do their business, the data, their IP or their information. If you don't have this, if it's not easily restorable or accessible from backup, then you're not doing your job. So without some sort of backup system, backup infrastructure, you really shouldn't even be servicing the customer. So it isn't even anything you should be arguing with them about. It has to be done. Honestly, if you don't do backups, your company will be destroyed if you don't push on backups.
What would you say to a client that says, "Well, we don't want backup. We'll our
Then
computer
I don't
our
want to
computer."
do I don't want to work with you. I mean,
Okay.
it's like saying that, I don't use seat belts for my, I don't have child seats for my kid. I
Yeah.
just throw them in the back seat. And you're like, well, I'm not driving him around. I'm not going
Yeah.
to do that because
Yeah.
it's a recipe for disaster. The moment something goes wrong and they lose a server or they lose some data, you can't restore it. It's gone because you don't have a backup. So you're finished. You know what I mean? It's just you're done. And they're going to blame you for it, even if they told you, oh, yeah, I told you I didn't want backup, but I didn't realize you didn't explain to me that it would completely destroy or gut my company. You didn't tell me that, so you're fired. Or they'll just fire. Someone will say, "Hey, why didn't your IT provider tell you how important backups were?" Well, maybe they tried, but I just ignored them. But that's their fault. Honestly, backup is critical.
Yeah.
All right. So another thing that we find that's super important and is is another keystone to your success is reporting. You have to show the customer that you backed up their data, that they have viruses assaulting their network, possibly that they have failed login attempts, people are accessing files they shouldn't be accessing, and et cetera, et cetera. If you don't show this to them at the end of the month, why would you? It's like your doctor just giving you an exam and then walking out of the room and never speaking to you about it. And you're like, well, what happened? What'd you see? What'd you find? What's new? What's wrong with me? And if you don't get to hear that on a regular basis, especially if you're going for checkups every month, then you're really going to be shooting yourself in the foot. So reporting is critical. Without reporting, you're not doing what Fernando talks about all the time, and that is showing value. If you can't do reporting, you're not going to show value. You could just say, look, we're backing up your data. And if they don't see a report saying, okay, here's 65 or successful backups, then they're like, I can't tell if this is happening or not. Nobody tells me anything, and you're going to fail. All right, so a lighter thing that's not really on like the top, maybe the top five, but is super important is the prevention of spam. And why is this most important? One of the most important things. If you get spam and you click on some of the links inside of it, it can create opportunities for malware and ransomware to affect your company. Now, if people don't click on spam and they don't do that, it's not gonna affect you as much. But if you have a lot of employees and they're not all trained, they don't go to phishing school, they're gonna click on spam, they're gonna get tricked, and they're gonna get ransomware, and they're gonna destroy corporate systems. They're gonna infect their machines, which is gonna spread throughout the network. So spam prevention, antivirus on your mail, are super important. You want to make sure that links aren't being clicked on, so you don't want to send people to phishing school. But again, the spam is of the last 5 or 6 ransomware. They've all been from spam. They've all been from email clicks. So I haven't really seen too much of people just surfing websites looking for, on the dark web, looking to buy military grade weapons and clicking on something that affects their machine. It just usually doesn't happen at work. So, like I said, someone saying, "Oh yeah, you need to reset your Wells Fargo password. Click here." That's more likely than someone going to a website looking for, illegal, drugs or something. You usually don't see that at work. So again, spam prevention is huge, and it should be, and it's another opportunity for you to report your value to the customer that you're doing something to support them and save them.
And that's a great segue into the next topic, because in order to identify spam or identify a potential adversary, you need to have a training portal. And you're implementing this, so why don't you touch more on what that phishing training portal does and how you keep our end users trained and educated, because that's important. Education is so critical to capturing these potential threats. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, training, if we just cut the phishing off the training portal, that would be okay too. But the phishing training portals are the most common training things out there right now. I mean, it would be great if you could go to other training portals, and those were equally as robust. But for now, phishing is really the most formal training program there is. WebRoot, ID Agent, stuff like that have phishing training portals, Bullfish, etc. Their training portals are the most, the most relevant, available training portals. It would be great if you had like training portals on how to maybe be PCI compliant, or how to be compliant with some more of your security features. But for now, the best training system that tracks users who are training, that reminds people, that does phishing attempts, fake phishing attempts on your company to try to see if anybody's going to fall for it, is really right now in the phishing space. I wish training would be more robust like that for a whole bunch of other things, but for now, really, phishing training is the best, and it seems to be the way to go. So phishing, once you've got your spam blocking and you've got you still can get things to leak through, sneak through. Conversational emails, especially when someone goes, "Hey, Fernando, it's Barry, from accounting. Can you tell me, do you want to redirect your blah blah blah?" And you're like, "Hey, this is somebody from I know. This is not like, doesn't have links in it, doesn't have any videos or anything like that." You're like, "Yeah, this Barry's emailing me from accounting, so I'll reply to him." Little do you know, they're just spoofing his email address, and they're trying to gain information from you, um, through like social networking. And so you need to be able to recognize that kind of stuff. And there's ways to detect that, and that's what you get trained in on phishing school. But absolutely, you need to have phishing training for your end users. You need to track who's taking training, and you need to test the waters of the company with your phishing attempts.
Awesome. All right. All right. Well, thanks for sharing all that. I'm gonna jump into this next slide on what we do to deliver not only value but what we charge, because the MSP model is not only a value proposition for prospects, it's a very profitable model. And we're going to quickly go over this slide on what we charge for computer support. This is just and we're illustrating on this for our end user, or our audience, that look, if you go with the standard rate of providing a flat rate for computer support, that's just straight computer support. I can't print, I can't browse, my computer's slow, I need somebody to patch it, I need somebody to troubleshoot hardware. Why is it, why am I having these type of errors? Well, standard $60 a user a month. Could you go to 50? Absolutely. You can go down to probably 40 and still be very profitable. So let's just go down that line and determine that ticket count for, let's say, 100 people. 100% office, when you have a low maintenance environment, is only going to produce 20 tickets a month. That's 20% of end users will call in for support. That's just the I mean, that's pretty standard for us as an organization that builds low maintenance environments, is to these are the numbers we see. Now, how long does it take to close 20 tickets? Well, we typically see 30 to 45 minutes on average to close a ticket. So let's just say it takes us 10 to 12 hours to close those 20 tickets. One person shop could theoretically support, I guess, 4 clients, right? 100-person offices. And that's not a bad chunk of change you could pocket just for yourself. So 10 to 12 hours to support a 100-person office each week is not too much work for you. Now, you obviously are going to be doing help desk support, and these are the costs for us as an MSP, what we pay our senior level help desk person. Plus, you got to figure in RMM costs and your PSA costs. But we don't add any products to this. We don't have any products bundled into this. So if that client requested, hey, let's have backup in there, let's include EDR, let's include other products such as Office 365, the cost per user starts to go up. So you guys have to factor that in. But right now, we just want to keep it simple on what it would cost to support a 100-person office. Now, the overhead is, we were a bit liberal on the overhead, right? We didn't stay conservative. We just said, hey, you know what? $1,600 to support that one office. So you got a huge cushion there, even if you have a bad month. But I want you to keep in mind what's not included is projects, migrations, office moves, upgrades, network redesigning, because those are considered projects. Just because you're providing unlimited IT support, it doesn't mean, oh, we're going to include all these other tech support items that come up. And you guys have to be very clear in your agreements, and your agreement clearly defines what those deliverables are and what is not included. What is also not included is on-site support. You guys have to stand firm on this model, because you will have clients that will try and take advantage of your good nature. There's a lot. Most CEOs I've met from MSPs are just amazing people. They're very generous with their time. They're generous with their services. So your good nature can at times get you in trouble. Do not give it away. That's pretty much it, guys. I appreciate you listening. If you have any questions, email us at info@mspcorner.com. We're going to be coming up with more shows on how to sell value, how to market yourself, and more product related information will be coming down the pipe. We'll have more vendors that will be presenting their services, their products, and that's going to help you guys build a sustainable IT business. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.